to go ahead and, of course, continue on creating value, specifically with their database. And this is probably the most important topic that I feel as if though I would cover the entire year. Why is it the most important? Because every agent, well, 99.9% of agents leave meat on the bone. Okay, and it's specifically with this source. And this is a way whenever I double, triple, or even quadruple an agent's business, it almost always starts with this source. So this is something that I want to make sure you guys are all understanding and tuning into. So if you are on Instagram, if you are on Facebook, I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom, because there will be some scripts that I'm going to be sharing that I can't share on the other platforms. Okay. So, all right, let's get this day started. So, Loida, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to jump into a role play. We left off last week with basically people that we haven't spoken with in a while. What do we do? How do we get them back into connection? Get in contact with them. We haven't spoken to them in 2, 3, 5, or 10 years. So what I'm going to do, because of the shortness of the script, I'll go first, Loida, and then what I'll have you do is I'll have you go after on what you do and whatever you want to do in regards to your scripting to your database. So I'm going to do 2 of them. One of them is the reconnect, and then the second one is going to be putting you like in normal rotation. Okay, so I want to make sure that everybody in the audience understands that the first call is something that I haven't spoken to Loida in who knows. Let's say we haven't spoken in about a good 3 or 4 years. Well, let me go ahead and start off with the first script. It's not sharing yet, so let me go ahead and jump into these. I'm going to do the first script, and then I'm going to go ahead and hopefully I can share by the time I can get to the second script. So here we go. Very first call. I haven't spoken with Loida in about 3 or 4 years, so I'm just going to reconnect with her. So here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Loida?
Yeah, who is this?
Loida, hey, it's Robert Villanueva. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I was just scrolling through my phone here, and I realized you and I haven't spoken in probably about 3 or 4 years, and I figured I'd pick up the phone and call you instead of sending you some random text. How are you doing?
Good. Can you remind me? I mean, I have so many Roberts that I know. How do we know each other?
Well, yeah, actually, a past client. I'm actually basically the realtor that helped you buy your home 3 years ago.
Oh, yes, that's right. That
Mhm.
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. So, how's the family? How's everything going for you guys?
Everything's going well. The kids growing up. Yeah, we've been here
Mhm.
quite some time now. Time goes by fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wanted to reach out to you because it's been a little bit, I was actually in your neighborhood and I figured I'd just give you a call instead of just send you some random text and just wanted to check in. What I wanted to do, Lloyd, is of course, I don't want another 3 or 4 years to go by before we speak again. I wanted to make a recommitment to all of my friends, family, and of course, great past clients like yourself. And just wanted to see if I got your permission to go ahead and check in with you maybe 3, maybe 4 times a year.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of information would you be calling about?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, what I do is I call my friends and family, and of course, great past clients, like I mentioned, give them some updates what's going on with the real estate market regarding the interest rates, regarding any different loan programs, anything that could be of any sort of value, just to, of course, continue to educate, everybody that's in my circle. So, promise you it won't take much more than about 3 or 5 minutes, and basically just to give you some value.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, why don't we do this? I did promise you I wanted to keep it short and very brief. So I'll check back with you here this next year. I wanted to wish you guys, of course, happy holidays as well. So I'll call you back probably around February or March, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, awesome. All right, so anyways, that's the reconnect script, okay? That's basically going to be that conversation. You haven't spoken with these people in some time, and I just want to make sure that you are connecting that, the relationship. And what do I mean by that? There's 2 parts to this. Part 1 is the reconnection, which is basically just the conversation. How are you doing? What's life about? So on and so forth. We haven't spoken in a little while. Whatever. Okay. It's basically just creating some version of as though if I care. Okay. And I'm trying to put it in layman's terms, basically. But the second part is I turn it over, and the turning it over is it okay if I check in with you 3 or 4 times a year? Now, this is important because when we do this, it's giving me permission. It's giving me the opportunity to be able to make those calls continuously. Now, that second part, you have to do that. Because if you don't, if you do just the first call, when you call back in February or March, Lloyda's going to be like, hey, well, I just spoke to you a couple months ago. Is everything okay? What's up? What's going on? Remember, the second part, is it okay if I check in with you 3 or 4 times a year? Is it okay if I check in with you 3 or 4 times a year? If I don't say that, if I just simply do the Lloyda, hey, it's Robert Villanueva, how are you doing? How's life? How's everything going? If I do just that and I call back again in February or March, it's going to be awkward. I get recordings all the time. And in those recordings, I hear this, okay, where it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot. And then when you call them back the second time, it's that much more uncomfortable because now they're like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Everything okay? We haven't spoken in like 4 years, and all of a sudden you called me twice in like 3 months. That's kind of weird. But instead of putting yourself in that position, I'm now going to go to call number 2. Okay? Is basically putting them in rotation. Okay, and then I think I got this thing working now. So let me go ahead and share a script now with you guys. 1 second. There we go. Zoom always finds a way to get me annoyed. So, all right, so there we go. So basically, I'm just going to go through. I'm doing the second call, and the second call after I reconnected with Lloyda. Now here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Lloyda?
Yes.
Hey, it's Robert, your realtor. How are you doing?
Hey, Robert, doing well. How are you?
Good, good, good. I promised you I was going to check in with you a little bit more often. I wanted to borrow you for a few minutes to give you a real estate update. Do you have a few minutes I can borrow?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Well, again, remember, we're February, March of next year. So, Lloyda, what I'm doing is, again, I'm calling all my friends, family, great past clients like yourself. I want to give them a quick little update what's going on with the real estate market. And basically from January 1st of 2024 all the way through December 31st of 2024, that entire year, there was an 8% growth, meaning an average home in your area going for about 600,000. Believe it or not, you gained 40, even as much as $50,000 in equity, which is the topic. Who do you know that is needing this information, that is looking to buy, sell, or for that matter, even invest?
No one that comes, no one that comes to mind.
Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to think about that. Anybody from work maybe that's toyed with the idea?
Not really. I work from home, so I don't really talk to my other coworkers about anything personal they have going on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Are any of your neighbors have talked about this?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, how about anybody in your family that's basically needing this information?
Well, I have a cousin that
Hmm.
has kind of thought about buying a home, but I mean, I don't know how serious they are because I've been telling them, just
Hmm.
purchase a home
Hmm.
for like the past 3 years and they haven't done anything. So, I mean, I don't know if they're serious or not.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I totally get that. And unfortunately, sometimes when people find themselves in a situation, it's simply just a lack of information. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask 3 real estate questions. Okay. So, as far as your cousin is concerned, how long have they been thinking about possibly buying?
Well, we've been talking about it for like the past 3 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, what's stopping them from actually making that move now versus just continuing to wait?
I think that one of them has credit like in the 600s, and they were also thinking about saving up more money and waiting for the interest rates to go down. And I just don't think that
Mm.
they can afford the prices right now, especially in this area.
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate thing, while they've been waiting for the last 3 years, prices have gone up probably by 50, if not $100,000. So by them being, of course, on the fence, it's costing them more money. Do you know if they've already spoken with a realtor?
No, no, they haven't.
Well, here's what I'd like the opportunity to do, Lloyd, is I'd love the opportunity to just give them a call, see if I can be of some help to them. And if the timing is still not right, that's okay. But I want to be able to just give them some information and seeing with what's stopping them. What's your cousin's name, by the way?
Jim.
Jim. Okay. And then what's the best number for me to reach out to Jim?
Well, you know what? Let me talk to him first. I'm
Hmm.
gonna see if him and his wife are still interested in buying a home,
Hmm.
like if they're actually serious, because I wouldn't want to waste your time
Hmm.
connecting them with you.
Yeah, again, as you know, I've been in the business now for 25 years. Wasting of time is never the case because I'm not going anywhere. And whether they buy, next month or next year or in 5 years from now, I definitely want to be, of course, be able to help them. So, yeah, talk to your cousin Jim. And then can I ask of you one favor?
Yeah, what's that?
So when you talk to Jim and Jim says, yeah, sure, fine, that's okay. Let me go ahead and talk to the realtor. Just put me in a group text. And then that way we can go ahead and communicate that way. Can you do me that solid?
Yeah, that's fine. That
Okay,
works.
cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that. And then if you come across anybody else, I'd really appreciate that. So besides your cousin, anyone else that comes to mind at this moment?
Um, no, I mean,
Mm,
we don't think about
mm,
possibly selling anytime soon, but I know that we have a lot of equity, so I don't know what like refinancing will look like.
hmm.
Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can have my lender reach out to you. But I am curious though, since you did mention about equity, have you guys ever considered possibly investing with the equity that you have in your home?
We have talked about it, but
Mm,
at this point, I mean, out here in California, it's just so expensive.
mm,
I'm not sure about doing it in another state or being away from the property, but it's
mm.
definitely something that we've considered.
Well, why don't I do this? Why don't we start with at least, let me get a lender, in communication with you about the idea of the refinancement, and if it's a value, great. If it's not, that's okay too. And then why don't you talk to your husband? And what I'll do is I'll call you this time next week and see with what you guys think about in regards to potential using some of the money for investments. Again, Lloyd, I'm not obviously, I'm not going to be that pushy salesperson. I just want you guys to have the information. If it's great, awesome. You move forward. If it's not, that's okay too. So let me go ahead and get my lender to reach out to you. Any questions before I let you go, by the way?
No, no, that was pretty much it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you. I'll be waiting for your text with your cousin Jim. And then what I'll do is I'll check back with you probably around this time next week. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Awesome. I'll talk to you then, Loda.
All right.
All right. Bye bye. Cool. All right. So, anyways, let's break that down here a little bit. Any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything of anyone that anyone wants to address first?
I think what I learned is I don't think any pressure here.
Hmm.
You just make it like it just for them.
Hmm.
It's about them, and then no pressure for them to like buying or anything. So I think that's take away
Mm.
the pressure and attract them to move forward rather
Mm.
than you know
Yeah.
pushing them away. So that's how I feel
Yeah.
listening.
And I appreciate that. The one thing that, based on with what you're talking about, it's important we understand this because I'm gonna talk to Loida anyways in 3 months. And in that, if let's say for example she doesn't respond, I text her, she doesn't respond, I don't get Jim, so on and so forth. It's not a big deal. I call her in 3 months. Hey, whatever happened with your cousin, by the way? Oh man, that guy. Like I kept asking him and asking him. He never gave me a yes or no. So I didn't want to keep bugging him. Okay, cool, not a problem. I know you guys were talking about the investments. You guys were talking about the lender. I know that the lender mentioned to me that you guys never really truly connected. I don't want you guys to feel any sort of that pressure. But is there any questions I can answer for you now that I'm now in June or July, whatever it is? Okay, and then I just go through now, give her a different value. Hey, there's this great loan program that's really beneficial. Buyers are able to do this. They're able to do that. All this other stuff. Who do you know that needs that information? Okay. So it's never from a pressure standpoint. It's just about being in front of them. Okay. Because all of a sudden, what ends up happening, this is the part where we're talking about last week. So I'll go into it just very, very quickly in regards to that. So Loida does basically talk to me or talk to Jim about me, but it's very passive. Hey, well, maybe I can get you my realtor. The realtor that helped me, maybe I can get him to call you. Yeah, no, we're just waiting for the prices to drop, blah, 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 all this other stuff, right? Well, I don't stay in contact with Loida. That's all that ends up happening. Jim ends up going and talking to somebody else, walks into an open house, makes a decision to end up buying that home. I didn't even know that I lost Jim. That's the problem that happens with a lot of realtors. But now, by me staying in contact and staying in contact with Loida, Loida is now reaching out to Jim, and now there's that little bit of heightened awareness. because now Lloyd has called Jim, and Jim is basically, well, yeah, I know, I'm sure he's sitting there saying about no pressure, but I already know how salespeople are. I'm not really ready. I don't even have any money, all this other stuff. Fine, whatever. And then all of a sudden, Lloyd goes to a barbecue with Jim. And then Jim's sitting there talking about, man, I think I really got to buy a house. And then Lloyd is sitting there like, dude, I'm telling you, you got to talk to my realtor. Okay. He's a good guy. I promise you, he's not going to be super duper pushy. You got to reach out to him. Okay, fine. You guys see what I'm getting at? And those are the two different scenarios. In the very first scenario, we lose them. We don't even know we lost them. And that's what happens with a lot of realtors. Okay. Lloyd, any feedback, anything that you want the audience to be aware of with what we role played, or for that matter, any critique, I'll take that as well too.
Let's say if I did say, yeah, Jim, I think he is talking to an agent. He has a friend that's a realtor. How would you respond to that?
Good. Well, it sounds like as if though he's starting to get the process started. As you know, it's always best to have a couple of different options. Okay, and at the end, basically, Jim can decide who's going to be a better fit for him. Unfortunately, there's a lot of agents in the industry that do this part-time, sometime, and they unfortunately don't have the best interest in the client's mind. As you know, that's what I do. Okay, so the only thing I'm asking is for the opportunity, and at the end, it's up to Jim if he wants to go ahead and use me or not use me. I have to be very, how can I put it? I have to be forefront about it, but at the same point in time, I can't be over pushy. I can't be to a position where it's like, well, let me talk to him. Let me do this. I'm the best agent, all this other stuff. All we can do is just kind of, put ourselves in a position where we can be an option. That's all.
So then how would you set it up for like the group text or to get connected with them?
So in that, basically, I would just say the same exact thing. Just do me a favor. Go ahead and get your cousin's permission. And if he says yes, great. Let's go ahead and put me in a group text. And in that group text, I'll take it from there. Okay. And I'll reach out to him. Jim, hey, it's Robert. Lloyd had mentioned to me that you were in the market to possibly buy a home. Tell me a little bit about what it is you're looking for. Okay. Yeah, this, that, all this other stuff. I feel a little bit bad because I do have another realtor. No, I get it. I understand. Share with me. What is it that you're looking for your realtor? Okay. Well, we just want somebody who's going to walk us through the entire process, somebody who's going to help us, all this other stuff. Well, that's great. That's awesome. Now, as far as the other realtor is concerned, is that like a personal friend of yours, or was that a referral, or, what's their experience? I've been in the business now for 5 years, 10 years. I've helped 100 families, 50 families, whatever it is. Now you just have to go in there and be able to say, well, you know what, here's what I do different. And hopefully that wins it over. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. That's all we can do.
When I brought up the refinancing and you mentioned the lender, well, I can connect you with the lender. Is there a reason that you didn't say or set it up in a way that it's like, let me do a group message to introduce you to them?
I
What
would.
you do?
I would, but in this case, the fact that you said something about the potential investment is the only reason I kind of left it a little bit open. If you said just refinancement, absolutely, I'm gonna put you in a group text with my lender. But what I want to do is I'm going to basically call the lender and say, hey, look, I have this great client of mine. Her name is Loida. She's looking to refinance, but she may be also looking to invest. Okay, so just give me a little bit of a window, reach out to her, make that connection. But let me see if I can actually get her to look into some investments. And either way, we're all going to win because you're going to do the loan for that one as well. So I don't want to just instantly jump into a group text. But even if I did, it's not the end of the world. I still could have picked up the phone and called the lender after. There's no right or wrong. It's just basically the way Robert's mind works sometimes. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. And then for the first role play that we did, at the end when you mentioned, I'll be checking in 3-4 times. Is there a reason that you didn't ask the question, before I let you go? Are there any questions that I can answer for you or anything like along those lines?
I was under the impression I did. Yeah. Before I let you go, is there any questions that, and I could be wrong, and if that is the case, yes, we do want to do that. Because at the very end, is there any real estate questions I can answer for you now? Because we were going into the direction of what would be the purpose of the call, and I kind of said a little bit about the, I'm going to give you some value from, interest rates, loan programs, this, that, any of this other stuff. And maybe my mind said it, but I didn't actually vocalize it. But yes, you would want to ask that. Is there any real estate questions? So great catch if that was the case. So, yep.
Okay, yeah, that was the only. Those were my only questions.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns, anything else of anything else? Okay, so, all right. Well, let's continue on. I want to make sure that we, of course, finish strong. We have quite a few holidays coming up in the next couple of weeks, so there'll be a couple of dark days. So let me continue on the creating of value. So yesterday we talked, or not yesterday, but yeah, we did talk yesterday about the reconnection. We also talked about calling them 4 times a year. We also talked about how to figure out how many people you need to speak to a day. Okay, so I'm going to go over that again because I know some of you guys are kind of in and out. So we need to identify who's in our database. There's 5 key categories. Of those 5 key categories, we have our past clients, family, friends, associates, people we do business with in the community, dentist, doctor, lawyers, dry cleaners, hair salon, nail salon, barber, mechanic, all of these people that we give money to. If we give money to, you should be able to put them into your database. Okay. And then 5th one is your vendors. That's escrow, title, lender, home warranty, attorney if you're an attorney state. You want to do all of these, basically have all of these people, ideally on an Excel spreadsheet. And on that Excel spreadsheet, you're going to separate the husband and the wives as 2 separate entries whenever possible. Okay, what I mean by whenever possible is if you have a great relationship with the husband, but you've never spoken with the wife, well, you're not going to give the wife a call. Okay. Or if you have like a 60-40, 70-30 where you mostly speak to the husband and or you speak to mostly the wife, but you do have somewhat of a relationship with the other, put them on there. Okay. Add up the number of people that are on there. Okay, so if you have 150, 270, 350, 400, and whatever it is, you're going to divide it by 60. 60. Okay? Whatever your number is, divide it by 60. Why 60? We're going to call them 4 times a year. And each time you have 1 quarter. In 1 quarter, there's 3 months. Okay, so there's 3 months in a quarter. 20 average business days plus 20 plus 20. So 20, 20, 20, that's 60. That's how we come up with that number. Okay. For you analyticals, I get it. I understand it's probably closer to like 63, 64, 65. Don't over dissect it. Just use the number 60. Okay. You take that number, you divide it into the number of people you have on your list. So if you have 240 people, you take 60, divide it into 240, that's going to give you the number 4. That's the number of conversations, not dials, not attempts. That's the number of conversations you need to have in a day. Okay, that's it. Now, of that, one of the ways you can do it to simplify, because I get questions all the time, what CRM do you recommend? You know, should I invest all this money into this type of CRM? Sure, fine, whatever. Okay, I have my 3rd 3-ring binder in 25 years. That's it. That's my CRM. Okay. And that CRM has costed me probably about $6. Okay, so I'm not saying I've never used, any of the top producers, the follow-up bosses, any of those. It's just not my necessarily cup of tea. Okay, there's definitely some great bells and some great whistles to these programs. I'm not telling you not to use them, but some of you overcomplicate it. And what I'm getting at is on the Excel spreadsheet, all I would do is just go through. I had a conversation with this person, I crossed them off. Had a conversation with this person, crossed them off. Had a conversation with this person, crossed them off. My job was to cross everybody off the list. And it's that simple. Okay, some of you guys overcomplicate this by putting it into a CRM and you're sitting there, when should I call this person? When should I call that other person? Don't overcomplicate it. Make it that simple. You do that 4 times a year, you're going to get the results. It's the way that it works, people. Okay, so can you do more? Sure, all day, every day. Okay, you can put them on a drip campaign. You can send them, all the extras, the cookie recipes, the, put them on social media, all that other stuff. Have at it, but not at the expense of picking up the phone and calling them 4 times a year. That effort alone is going to be about 80% of your results. Okay. So stop with the passive stuff. Okay, you guys are doing all this other, creative avoidance, but you're not picking up the phone and calling these people. Okay? And it's important we understand that. Okay, questions, comments, concerns? We got a few minutes left. No, we're good. Loida, any points you want to add to today?
I think everything you covered was very detailed. I like the role plays and the different scenarios that we did.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're all going to find ourselves. Here's the other, it leads into the other point too, because as we're going through, we're going to call some of these people and we're looking at the list and they got these big, hairy, audacious monsters on the list. And it's like, oh my gosh, I do not want to call Ann Tran. Oh my gosh, yeah, Ann talks forever. I can't get her off the phone, right? Or then I look and I go, Ophelia, oh my goodness, Ophelia, she is so rude. Goodness gracious. Right? Okay. Oh my gosh, with Vivian, that deal fell apart. Oh my gosh, she cussed me out last time. I don't even know if she even likes me anymore. You guys overthink it. You got to call them. Okay. As you call them, you're going to start to see there are going to be differences. Okay. There are some times where I would have this horrendous situation of a file. I closed yesterday on a deal. This is me still today. That was in escrow for 6 months. Trust me, I had some very horrific conversations with the seller, not happy with me, but it had nothing to do with me. Okay? 6 months. And it closed yesterday. Thank God. Okay? And in that, when I call them in 3 months from now, I'm going to be like, hello? Right? But I'm going to call them. It's my job. Okay? My point is you got to call everybody on the list. And when you call them on the list, call them at least one time. Okay? But you got to call them. After you call them, on the other side of that is you're going to determine whether to keep them or remove them, including the ones that you don't want to call. Because when in these type of situations, when I call them in 3 months from now, he could be like, Robert, oh my gosh, yeah, that was horrific 6 months. We were frustrated, we were annoyed, we were agitated, we were just like everything, all this other stuff, right? But thank you. We are beyond grateful to you. We know that we were, frustrated throughout the process, okay? But, we're glad that we finally got it closed, okay? And we understand you tried your absolute best, so thank you so much. Or he could be like, what the F are you thinking? Like, dude, seriously, like, come on. Like, why would you even call me? And I don't know what's going to happen on that. You guys get that? But you got to call everybody. Okay. Today, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard. Oh, let me see. I got a question here on Instagram. What went wrong with the 6 month sale briefly? Okay. This is definitely not the forum for that, but since you're asking, Veronica, we had a lender that overpromised. We shifted a lender because the first lender was a sort of a hard money lender, and it was about almost 3.5 months. Went back on the market for about another 2, 3, 4 weeks before we found another buyer. And sure enough, the appraisal from that one, because they were both FHA, just further delayed the second escrow. So it took like almost 3 weeks just to get through the whole appraisal, whatever negativity. Okay. So sometimes it happens. Okay. It happens to the best of us. All right. So today, 12 o'clock, business planning. Okay. I only do this class once a year. You got to show up today at 12 o'clock. I'm going to break down what should be on there, what you should be using, what are the numbers you need to be paying attention. How do you put a business plan together? What's the purpose of the business plan? Okay. It's going to be on Zoom. We're going to go ahead and live stream it also on Top Realtor Training, but you got to come join us over on Zoom. Okay. So I will see you guys later today. Loida, thank you so much for showing up today. I'll see you guys today at 12 o'clock. Go take a listening or 5, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.